bites the dust!
I am Judge, Jury, Executioner!
Lights out for scum.
Who's got better guns now?
You made your last mistake. Good. Burn them all, kid.
Woo! I never miss! Move all you want. I'll just aim where you were. You're too late. Making the cut!
Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me? Great. Right, thanks. All right. So today's session we're going to download an application called Exam. So it's one file, and but it's about 4 applications within that one file. So to do this, I would like someone to volunteer to share their screen, and I will give the instructions of what you need to do, right? So who's willing to share their screen? Anyone? I'm looking at the participants list, starting from the bottom. Rena, you able to share your screen? I think Rena probably doesn't have a mic. Rondell. Aisha, what about you? No one is willing? Jonathan? Then we have 2 Jonathans. Bruce or Grant? Who's willing? Yeah, Jonathan, you willing to share your screen? Wonderful. Your mic is working, Jonathan?
Yes, sir. Hello, could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Wonderful. Right. Okay. So, Jonathan, thanks for doing this. So what we'll do, we'll record this session.
Recording in progress.
Right. So first thing I need to ask you, Jonathan, do you have any web servers installed on your machine?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Okay. And is it a Windows machine you have?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. All right. So we're going to start. I want everyone to log into My Learning. So go to the My Learning core shell. Right, scroll down to the first part, week one, right? Okay, so we have one, two, three, four, five. Five items there. It's in exam, W3 schools, right? So those are two links, two websites. Then we have a file called my first page. We'll be dealing with that in a bit. We have some code there, create table, employee SQL, and then we have view employees. So we're going to go through these things one by one. So the first thing I want you to do, click on the exam link. Right, and because it's a Windows machine, you're going to click on exam for Windows. Right, scroll down. All right, so nothing is installed as yet. Oh, it's installing now, right? Okay. Now that's the installer, an exe file. So that no, there's a few ways to install exam. So he's installing the exe. I normally would like to just download the files itself. So I want you to go to scroll down again. That's all. Go back up. Click on download. Right. And scroll down a bit on this page. Go back up. Under Windows, click more downloads there. All right. Click on exam Windows. Click on the first one, 8.2.12. Right. Okay. So there are different versions of the exam. So I want to download the zip version. So that's the first one. Right. Is it downloading? Okay. All right. So it's the zip version we need to get. So everyone can follow along. Now, just remember the session is recorded as well. So you could always come back and view what we did. Right. Now, what you can do, Jonathan, open the folder where this is downloaded. Oh, I think, Jonathan, you need to share your entire screen for us to see. So if you want to stop sharing, so instead of sharing your window, share the entire screen. Right. Okay, so this, you have it under the downloads folder. Right. I want you to right click on exam file and extract all. All right, so we're extracting it. I just want to see what folder you're extracting it to. And so you can go ahead and do it there. And we can always delete afterwards, right? So extract. Right, it's taking some time here. Jonathan, what sort of connection you have? Do you have amplifier flow, Digicel?
Digital, sir.
Sorry?
Digital.
Digicel, okay. I found that it downloaded pretty fast on your machine.
Okay.
Like, let's see, extract, taking some time. Yeah, wonderful. Right. So we extracted that file, that zip file, and we have a folder now called exam. I want you to click on exam and, just go back up one level, right? Right click on exam and copy the folder. Right? It copied?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then I want you to go to your C drive. You go into your root, right? And in the C drive, you're going to paste that folder, exam. Right. So while this is downloading, as I said, there's a few versions of exam available. There's one called WAMP as well. So if you could search for WAMP. WAMP is specific for Windows environment, and there's LAMP, that's based for Linux environment, right? So WAMP and LAMP, right? Yeah, search for WAMP and see if you find that, right? WAMP server, right? So you all could explore those things in your own time. But the example is more or less relatively easy to work with and use, right? Is it done copying? 86. I think 99%, 100. Okay, good. All right. So what we've done so far, hold on one second. Right. So we've downloaded the zip file for exam, extracted the file, copied the exam folder under the C drive, So what I want you to do now, Jonathan, is double click on exam. Right, so there's a few files here we need to be aware of. We want to download. Sorry, scroll down. Right, there's the exam control. I want you to double click on that. Right, save. So that will appear that's the first time you open this, right? So exam control will bring up a control panel, and on the left-hand side on the modules, those are the different applications we have in this folder that we just copied. We have the Apache. Anybody wants to tell me what Apache is?
It's a thing that does whose web pages or something.
Web pages, right? So it's a web server. What about MySQL?
That's a version of SQL. Well,
Right.
but SQL and overall is for database.
Right, so it is a database, right? So it's an open source database. FileZilla, you can use that for FTP, right? Mercury, not too familiar with Mercury. I never really worked with Mercury, but Tomcat is if you're using Java programs like JSPs or servlets, Tomcat works on top of Apache, so you can have some nice Java applications that is web-enabled applications, right? So basically, just going to work with the first two. We're going to work with Apache and MySQL. So I want you to click on Start for both of them. Let's stay there for a bit. Right, and what you can see, right, you will have to allow this, right? Allow as well. Okay, wonderful. Right. For the Apache, it uses port 80 and uses port 443. Anyone wants to tell me explain to me 80 and 443? What do you understand by those ports?
So that's HTTP and HTTPS.
Wonderful, right. So 443 is for a secure connection, and port 80 is the default port for if you're connecting to a web server, right? If you can basically change those ports as well. At one point, exam was configured for port 8080. And then if you want to, so therefore, if you had to access any web pages or web application, you have to specify the port. But because 80 is the default, you don't need to put any ports in the URL. And then, well, MySQL is using port 3306. Right, so those two things are running. Good, you can minimize this. And just to confirm Apache is running, you can open up a web browser. So open up any web browser on your machine. Right, maximize. And type in localhost. One word, localhost has one word. Right, hit enter. Right, and because this page is showing up, we know that the web server is running, right? So right now, Jonathan, your machine has a web server there, and the web server is running, and you are actually accessing it. Now, if we were on a machine in the lab, and and you had it running in that machine, for you to accept the web server on that machine, you would have to replace localhost with the IP address or the name of the machine, right? So because you're running everything locally, you're just using localhost, right? Right, so we have this running on your machine. I want us to now go to PHP MyAdmin. Now, PHP MyAdmin, it's a PHP interface built on PHP, and the interface gives us a view. Did you click on it? right? It's taken a while, right? A view of the databases that you have installed, right? Or created, right? So you have some default databases there. Right. So this is your interface to the MySQL or MariaDB, right? Database. So if you click on databases at the top, or you're actually seeing it on the left, click on databases. Right. These are all the databases, default databases that you can use. And then if you just click on the SQL tab, right, this is where you can actually write SQL and on your databases that you have on the left-hand side, right? So I think I asked this in last class, but anyone here did a database course or doing a database course system? Anyone? Adrian, Ronaldo said he did it already. Some people still doing it, right? Okay, so it's not that we need to know much SQL in this course. I'll teach you some really basic stuff for now. But if you are doing a database course outside of this course, definitely you can tell the lecturer that you have MySQL running on your machine, and you can run your SQLs using MySQL, right? Good. Okay, so you can keep this up for now. I want you to go back to the core shell. My learning. Right. Now, you all probably came across this website already, W3 Schools. Click on it. Right. This is a kind of go-to page, default page that you come to, and you can learn so many things on this website. I write a lot of SQL statements for my job, and sometimes I still come back here to get the proper syntax and so on. For SQL, sometimes I go back for PHP and things like that, right? Just to make sure I'm using the functions and the commands correctly, and I have the syntax correct as well, right? So it's a good resource. We'll be coming here from time to time to get snippets of code which we will use in our applications, right? Okay, so let's do our first application. Go back to the C drive, Jonathan. Right, and go to exam. And go to the folder htdocs. It's a folder. Nice. Okay, I want you to create a folder now and put your name in common letters, no spaces. Right, so just want to put Jonathan. If you want to put your last name, that's fine. All right, hit enter. All right, so we have a folder with your first name there. Good. Let's go back to the core shell. Right, and download that page here, my first page. Download already? All right, open that. What do you use to edit your code? Normally, Visual Studio?
Yes.
Do you have open it up in Visual Studio? VS Code, I mean. Right. So this is one of the most simplest web page we can write. You understand HTML?
A little bit rusty, Steve.
Rusty?
Yeah, a bit
All
rusty
right.
from how many years ago?
Years ago.
Done it.
All right. Okay. Well, this is if you're just looking at the page there, you have your HTML tags, you have your body tags. It doesn't even have a header tag, right? It's so simple. Within the body, we have my first heading, my first paragraph, and hello, my name is Cyrus Mahabir. You can change it to your name there, Jonathan. Take off my name. All right, wonderful. Right, save this file and then close it. Right, I want you to copy that file now. We're going to copy it under the folder with your name. Right, wonderful. Right, so go back to the browser where you have localhost. Right, and everything after localhost, delete. Right, so backspace in the URL. Right, right, and then type in your name. All right, and forward slash, and the name of the file, my first page, I think. What is it again? Yeah. .html. Right, enter, enter. Wonderful, great. Right, so what Jonathan just did is basically creating a folder under HT docs. That is where you will have your applications and everything pertaining to that his application called Jonathan will be under that folder, right? So Jonathan, this is the first web page. This is different from you just double clicking on the file and it's opening. You are opening this file through a web server. So therefore, all the HTML tags and so on will be looked at, inspected, and rendered in this format, right? If you understand, HTML really provides the look, how things should look and feel on the screen. All right, so Darren said to repeat it, right? So, Jonathan, you want to go back to your file? Let's go back to where you have the file, right? So what we did, let me just repeat. After extracting exam, we took the exam folder, put it on the C drive. In the exam folder, there's an exam control file, right? Is that still up, Jonathan? The control panel? I wonder, yeah, you probably still have it up there, right? When we hit the exam control file under exam folder, this would come up. We started the first two applications, Apache, which is the web server, and MySQL, which is the database server, right? When we finished that, we created a folder under htdocs, right? So minimize this, with Jonathan's first name, right? In that folder is where we have an HTML file, and open up the contents of the file. No, I'll open it. Right, you see how you open it there? This is opening the file like you would open any normal file. But how you open it with the local host in front, that is opening through the web server. Right, so we open the HTML to see the code, and this is the HTML code here. Devin, are you seeing it? I got your name right? Oh, Kalisa. Yeah, if you didn't do the web course, I'm showing you some really basic stuff for now. We're not going to dive deep into HTML. We're not going to dive deep into SQL as well. Whatever I show you now is basically the depth of what we're going to be doing, right? So in this HTML is what we're doing here is pretty basic, but as someone in comp sci, someone doing IT, you could do your own learnings in HTML. So you could go to W3 schools and actually go through the tutorials there. But as I said, it's really basic stuff we're doing for now, right? So this HTML is really basic stuff. And we're going to do a little bit of SQL in a bit, right? But for now, this is all you need to know for HTML. There's the body, there's the header tag, the paragraphs. That's it. Good. Go back to the core shell for me, Jonathan. Right. So what Jonathan did, he actually put in the first page into his application. I want you to click on Create Table Employee SQL. Right, this is a page here. Right. Everyone can see this?
So I don't know if it was just me or oh, I was about to say it looked like I didn't have access to it when I first tried to click on it before the lab today.
You don't have access. Oh, Bruce, you're breaking up a lot. You want to share your screen?
No, it's fine. It was just that when I tried clicking on the create table as employee SQL, it gave me some kind of error before the lab started. Now it's working fine.
It's working fine? Okay. All right. So, all right, look, someone did a nice thing and put it in the chat as well, right? Good. Now, this here is a very basic SQL statement that creates a table named employee. And we have, anyone wants to tell me how many fields we have in that table?
Six fields.
6 fields, right? And we didn't even put in a primary key and stuff as well, right? So what I want you to do, Jonathan, is copy that code there to the last semicolon, right? Copy, right? Go back to your local host. Right. Backspace. Just type in localhost in the URL in the browser. Enter. Right. What we're going to do, we go into the actual database interface. So that's PHP Right. Hold on 1 second, right? Right. From here, I want you to click on databases. We're going to create a database. So you're going to create database. We're going to call it the course code INFO 3608. Click on common letters. Not sure if it's case sensitive. So INFO 3608. Click on the drop down. I normally scroll down a little bit. You really look for UTC. Right, hold on. UTC Unicode CI. Click out of it. Let me see. I want to, right, let us use the same thing as, actually, yeah, leave it as Latin 1 Swedish, right, leave it like that, and click create. Wonderful. So what we just did there is create a database. So if you see on the left-hand side now, we have IN 43608, right? So just click on that, just to make sure that you're in that database, right? If you see, look at the top, you see database IN 43608. So you are in that database at the moment. Click on SQL now. Right. In the SQL, you're going to paste that create table statement. Wonderful. Right? So wait, stay right there. I just want to make sure everybody has it. So we created a database called INF43608. And within that database, you're going to create a table now using this code. So after pasting the code, you're going to click on Go in the bottom right-hand corner. Wonderful, right? So we have a table now. And if you look on the left-hand side, you see INF 43608, and just under that, we have a table called employee, right? You can click on it, right? So you have an empty table basically, right? So so the code we basically, when you by clicking on employee table, it's the same as select star from employee. Okay. Hold on 1 second. All right. So we have an empty table there. I just want to add some information in that table. To do that, how are we doing that? Okay, you're going to click on insert at the top. Right. So this is, again, it's an interface to our tables. It's not as neat as we would like it. So that is why we will normally create pages, web pages, with a nice form and so on. But for now, let's do, just fill out at least one record. So in that big block there, first name, let's put in a first name. Now, don't worry about that. No, that's just functions. In the large text area. So you put your name. For employee ID, you could make up something. It has to be an integer, right? Okay. Last name, you go ahead. Date of birth, choose a date. I think there's a date picker, right? You put anything for now, right? Address, make up something for address and city. Right, and you can click the go button there, right? So you see this is basically what you did, you really did an insert statement into the table. Click on employee on the left-hand side. And you're seeing that record showing up there. You all seen it? Employee ID 213, first name Jonathan, and so on. Okay? So Jonathan, you're doing pretty well so far. So what the next step? Excuse, hold on. Right. The next step now, Jonathan, go back to the W3 schools. I'm sorry, no, our core shell. And download the view employee file. And you can copy that file in under your Jonathan folder. Right? Open that file in VS Code. All right. Now, this is a PHP file. I know it's right now it's looking like very, very confusing. But don't worry about it too much. Again, I just want to show you how this works. PHP, in this particular file, really connects to the database, and it goes to the database that you created. And then if you look at line 20, after you first look at line 14, at line 14 is a select statement pulling all the records from employee table. And then on line 20 is where we display it on the screen, right? So what you want to focus on the first 5 lines in this program. We actually have variables called server name, username, password, and DB name. So variables in PHP, you normally put a $sign for the variable names. The local host is what server you want to go to, right? The username is root, so we're using a default username root. There's no password for our database so far, so the password is blank. And the DB name is INO43608, right? So based on what I'm seeing here, everything looks right? Everything looks correct. So what you need to do now, Jonathan, go to your local host, go to your web browser, right? Go to the next page at the back, the next tab, and where you have my first page.html, type in view_employees.php. Wonderful, right? So, I mean, it doesn't come up that pretty and that nice and so on. So therefore, in your PHP code, after you all get a little more comfortable with PHP, you could actually format the data in a table format, put headings and so on, right? So that's to show you how this works. If you want to go back to your second tab, Jonathan, go to Insert, add a next record here. So put in employee ID. So make up another number and so on. Put someone else's name. Wonderful, right? So you inserted a second record. So go to the next tab now and just click refresh on that page. Wonderful, right? So you see the name is coming up. Great, Jonathan, you did a good job here. So again, let's repeat. We don't need to know HTML in depth. You don't need to understand SQL in depth or even PHP. But I just wanted to show you that you all have now, Jonathan has available a web browser and a database, a web server and a database server where he could do some really neat applications from scratch. But in this course, we're not doing things from scratch. We're not going to be writing code from scratch. All right. We are on top of this web server, and that's in our next lab. We will be installing what you call WordPress. So don't do anything yet with Jonathan on this, but until next week, we're going to install WordPress. And then on top of WordPress, we're going to install WooCommerce, right? And those applications will be applications where we need to configure to make our website, our e-commerce website, right? Yeah, so it is good to understand the details of how things work, right? Because basically what we did here with PHP, we connected to the database, we extracted all the records, and we displayed it on the screen. And we did that in one simple file. But when we get down to using WooCommerce, they have very complex ways of getting the data. But in reality, using some simple syntax, using simple SQL syntax, and so on, and HTML and CSS. A lot of CSS as well involved in these things. But again, we just using the application to get it out, right? So so don't be scared. That we doing these things. We taking it step by step. Okay, step by step, right? So again, so this session is recorded. Jonathan did drive the session. Thanks, Jonathan, so much. And this is how it's going to be for most of the labs. I'm going to give instructions, and the students going to more or less drive the lab and do it on your own machines and so on. Okay. So at this point, do we have any questions?
No, sir. Everything has been understood.
Okay, great. All right. So and again, maybe going through the video, the recordings, a second time before our next class, you will have a good understanding. So what I would like everyone to at least have XAMPP installed on their machines, and to just do the small little exercises in terms of create a database, copy the two files that I have, my first page.html, use that, and then also use the other one in getting the employee data and displaying it on the screen, right? So we did a pretty good lab today. I really hope everyone was able to follow. If you weren't able to follow, again, go back to the recordings. And a very good resource in your own time. You could go to W3 Schools and do a tutorial. And not only for HTML and not only for PHP, but in W3 Schools, there's also Python and other programming languages, right? So yes, in your time, dive deep into those things. It will help you all sometime in the future, right? Right. So if you have no questions, that's it for the session today. Oh, wait, before you all go, are you all part of the WhatsApp group? Right. Okay, good. And if you know anyone who's not part of the group, you could always send them the link, right? Okay, so good day, everyone, and I'll be seeing you all for a face-to-face session next week, Thursday. Right? Have a good weekend. Okay, bye.